Usually after games, I would put my review out and then I'll put out another video which says my 5 takeaways from today's match. But it doesn't make sense because I think anybody with half a brain knows there are more than 5 problems which stems from this game. And when I say problems, I mean takeaways, because if I was going to do a takeaway, it was going to be 5 problems. But we have more than 5 problems that we need to talk about. This picture here encapsulated tonight's match, as well as Chalobah's injury as well. But let's talk about this picture. You have PSG fans waving away Chelsea fans who felt the need to leave before the game. And I don't blame Chelsea fans, yeah? The ones who paid to go watch that dross. I don't blame them for leaving. Why? Because you have incompetent people, and I'm still going to use that I word, incompetent people, who hire people to have this team regress as much as it has regressed over these past few years, over these past few months, right? You have Enzo Fernandez just came out a few minutes ago or an hour ago or whatever, saying he doesn't know about his future at Chelsea. He's going to ride out these next few games in the Premier League and FA Cup potentially, and then focus on the World Cup, and then afterwards he's going to think about it. When you hear quotes like that, he's off. Mentally, he's off. Why? Because I'm pretty sure Enzo Fernandez and other players, they're more ambitious to reach higher heights and deeper depths in their careers, and they don't see it at Chelsea Football Club. We can say Reece James, he signed a new contract, and he came out in his press conference alongside Liam Messina and say, well, I see the club reaching somewhere, and I see us vying for competitions and trophies, and I see us, competing, and I see us having ambition. Yes, he can say that as Reece James, being a part of Chelsea Football Club for so many years, because that's going to be pulling on his heartstrings. He has to say that emotionally, sentimentally, whatever, right? But anybody with ambition will know this is not going anywhere. Under this ownership since 2022, we've signed so many players, 1.5 billion spent, right? And there have been more flops than successes. It's been 4 years, near 2 billion spent. Yet still, in the Champions League round 16 match where we need to come back from 5-2 down, we're starting a back 5, which consists of Cucurella, Joel Hato, a 19-year-old, Mamadou Sarr, who you had to recall from Strasbourg, Trevor Chalobah from the academy, and right back Pedro Neto. Are you actually serious? Then you have Liam Messina coming out with bullshit quotes week in, week out in his pre-match press conferences, his post-match press conferences. Respect the ball. Pedro Neto is a world-class player. Week in, week out, he gaslights, lies, and manipulates everybody who likes to listen to him. I said it in my match reaction as well. I'm not going to say Racina out because it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense because Racina is not the root issue. So if you get Racina out, what's that going to solve? You still have the cancerous limb in the club that's just going to appoint another Liam Messina, and they're not going to be accountable or responsible enough to take accountability to say, you know what, we got Enzo Maresca, him leaving, we got it wrong, because Enzo Maresca realized that he lost his best centre-back last year. He asked for one in the press conference. What did they tell him? Shut up, you don't need one. Lo and behold, when January came 6 months later, you recalled a centre-back because you needed one, didn't you? You actually needed one. Now, I'm not saying Enzo Maresca was the holy grail. I'm not saying he was the perfect person, right? But he was better than this. I spoke about the amount of goals that Liam Messina conceded ever since he's been here. And I want to talk about the threes. Let's talk about threes, right? I'm pretty sure in saying that ever since from 2024 to 2026 when Enzo Maresca left, in his 18 months here, he only conceded 3 goals on 3 occasions. I'm pretty sure in saying that. Maybe it's 4 or whatever, but I can remember distinctly 3 occasions where we only conceded 3 goals. We conceded 3 goals, 3-1 against Man City in 2025 January, against Bayern Munich in 2025 in the Champions League, against Leeds United in 2025 in the Premier League, 3 times. Liam Messina, 3-2 against Arsenal, 5-0 against PSG, 3-0 today, and against Wrexham, it could have been 3, having not been for that offside. So we're conceding goals left, right, and centre. What could you say about Enzo Maresca when he was here? Last year, we had the 3rd best defence in the league behind Liverpool and Arsenal. We all acknowledged that under Enzo Maresca, we had the structure in terms of our defensive shape, our defensive capabilities, but we just didn't have the personnels. With Arsenal and Liverpool last year that I referred to, right? Liverpool had the personnels, but they just didn't have the structure, hence why they conceded as much as they conceded last year, even though they were in the top 3. The same thing with Arsenal as well. They had the defensive personnels and the structure, so hence why they were able to build on it this season. Last year, we had the structure, but we just didn't have the personnel. This season was the perfect opportunity to build on it. Enzo Maresca said, this is what I need to be successful. because you build a spine through the defense. And they told him no. We have a set of non-ambitious people at this football club, bro. Like, from the time they hired Liam Messina, we should have known. We should have known. Because when you have this guy coming out week in, week out, lying, gaslighting, manipulating, talking about respecting balls, Pedro Neto is world class. Bro, when we have this, and I always, the lies that he tells in press conferences, that's why I don't do them anymore. Because this guy lies, like, and he's the embodiment and the representation of the ownership at this football club. Honestly, in the 18 months Enzo Maresca was manager, not once leaks came out. Not once. We're having it 2 times in a week. And then you have the director of Chelsea Football Club telling fans that it's effing obvious that we're building one of the best teams in Europe. Like, he actually thinks we're stupid, you know. He actually thinks we're all stupid. He thinks, and the rest of the board thinks they're sophisticated, smarter than everyone, and just ahead of the curve. I appreciate anybody who stayed this long for the video, because there's so much more that needs to be said. But like right now, I would have to just list them, and talk about it. But this is the surface level things that we actually need to talk about. Because as I mentioned, Liam Messina is the embodiment of this incompetent ownership that we have of Chelsea Football Club. And as long as Egbali, as long as Paul Stanley, Lawrence Stewart, all these little idiots in the board who think they're doing the best job in the world and who trying to take ownership of the Conference League and the top 4 that we got with the youngest squad in Premier League history and the Club World Cup, they gave themselves 6-year deals upon the work that Enzo Maresca did. This is just the representation of somebody who they don't know how to look at themselves in the mirror. They don't know how to read the room. And please, for the love of God, bro, just get out of my football club.